These are the 10 best cities in America to buy a home in 2022. These are places that offer you affordability, growth potential, and investment security. There is no housing bubble in these cities, and there won't be a housing crash. In fact, you can actually find starter homes for less than $300,000 in all of these cities, and I believe that they are going to have the best price appreciation in America over the next 5 years. I know many of you are frustrated by the current state of the US housing market in 2022. Many of you feel like you're never going to be able to afford to buy a home. Many of you feel like you can't even afford the rent. If that describes you, then you need to consider moving to and buying a house in these 10 cities. These cities are affordable, growing, remote work friendly, and one of them will even pay you $10,000 to move there. My only question is, what are you all waiting for? Stop banging your head against the wall in your current overpriced housing bubble market and start looking at these 10 cities as a place to move or buy a home in 2022. Do it before it's too late. Starting with our number 10 best city to buy a home in America in 2022, this is a place that rings with affordability. The typical price of a home is, get this, 40% below the US average. It's barely over $200,000 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh has long been a bastion of affordability for both home buyers and renters, and now it's combining it with a heavy dose of economic growth. The presence of Carnegie Mellon University and the University of Pittsburgh has provided the city with a youthful injection of jobs, income, and cultural amenities. Institutional real estate investors are starting to take notice of Pittsburgh's growth, particularly Barbara Corcoran, a New York City real estate mogul who you probably recognize from her appearances on Shark Tank, has just said that she's selling out of New York real estate and buying up homes in Pittsburgh. That's right. She loves the city's affordability and expanding tech sector. Don't be surprised if other institutional investors follow suit. But perhaps the best thing about buying in Pittsburgh's housing market today is its stability. Home prices in Pittsburgh during the last housing crash from 2007 to 2012 actually went up. Home prices went up in Pittsburgh in the last crash while they were going down by 50% in cities like Phoenix and Miami. This historical price stability, to go along with the affordable entry point for home buyers as well as Pittsburgh's recent growth, make it a great place to buy in 2022. As is the case in our number 9 best city to buy, this is actually the number 1 economic boomtown in America over the last 2 years. The pandemic sent a lot of local economies around the US into a recession, however, not this one. Job growth in this city is the 3rd highest of any in America over the last 2 years, while wages are up by an astronomical 11% over the last 12 months. This economic boom makes Tyler, Texas a great place to buy in 2022. Tyler is located about 2 hours east of Dallas and is starting to steal residents from Dallas. Its great economic growth, to go along with home prices that are 35% cheaper than the Dallas-Fort Worth metro price, means it has had a big influx of new residents. So if you're someone in Texas who's priced out of your local city and you want to find a more affordable option that's growing, Tyler, Texas fits the bill. Now, our number 8 best city to buy does not have the sky-high economic growth rates of Tyler, but it has even more affordability. The typical monthly mortgage payment in this metro area is, get this everyone, $900 a month. If you're someone who's sensitive to the ongoing cost of home ownership, you will definitely want to consider Baton Rouge, Louisiana. You'll be hard-pressed to find a city where you can get better value for your money in terms of buying a home. Check out this 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 1,600 square foot starter home in Baton Rouge that was just listed for $295,000. It was built in 2016, has modern interior finishes, and even a small backyard. A home like this presents great value compared to buying a comparable one in a city like Austin or Miami. It would cost 2 to 3 times as much. Meanwhile, the ongoing cost of ownership will be very low. Check this out. Zillow estimates the property taxes for this home would only be $1,500 a year. Now, Baton Rouge has a lot more going on than just affordability. It's home to LSU, Louisiana State University, with an enrollment of over 35,000 and student growth of 30% in the last 10 years. It's one of the fastest growing universities in America and is a huge local economic driver in Baton Rouge. The presence of LSU means that Baton Rouge is also one of the youngest metro areas in America, with a median age of 35, right on par with Austin, Texas. Baton Rouge's affordability, university presence, and youth make it a top sleeper housing market market in America. I believe in 10 years, this is going to be a city a lot more people are talking about, so get in today. Now, before getting into the rest of the list, the top 7 best cities to buy in 2022, we have some great cities on this list. I want to do a quick pause and just address something I think many of you are thinking. You might be saying to yourselves, wait a minute, Pittsburgh, Tyler, and Baton Rouge. I don't hear about anyone moving to these cities or buying in these cities. Why aren't more people talking about them? And I'll say to you, that's exactly the point. At the peak of a housing bubble like we are in 2022, on the doorstep of a massive housing crash, the place where you want to go is the place that no one is talking about. These are the cities that are going to have the most durability and security during the upcoming housing downturn. That was the case in the last housing crash. Values in Pittsburgh went up. They barely went down in Baton Rouge. It's going to be the case again. Moreover, especially if you have a remote job and you want to be forward looking and get into a place on the ground floor before everyone else sees it, these are great cities to do it. And I believe they're going to have some of the best home price appreciation over the next 5 years. This includes our number 7 best metro to buy in America. This is actually one of the largest markets in America. This is a top 5 population metro in America. You're going to find a lot of different options in terms of neighborhoods, cultural life, amenities, and price points in Houston, Texas. Houston is one of the most affordable large metro areas in America. Home prices here are 30% cheaper than Dallas and 50% cheaper than Austin. However, it offers better cultural amenities in those cities. Houston is one of the most diverse areas in America and has arguably America's top restaurant scene. You can get into that for a cheap price point and also ride the wave of economic growth. Now that oil prices are nearing $100 a barrel, that's going to be a boon to Houston's economy. Every time oil prices go up, home values and job growth in Houston increase. So don't be surprised if you see Houston take over the lead as far as Texas's economic growth over the next 5 years. Our number 6 best city to buy, like Pittsburgh, is a burgeoning tech hub. Everything changed for this metro area in 2013 when a company called Drive Capital established its headquarters there. Drive Capital is a venture capital fund that invests in technology startups around the country, and specifically it has invested in many technology startups in Columbus, Ohio. Columbus is a burgeoning tech hub with a lot of recent IPOs and tech startup funding rounds that is now driving the local economy. In addition to that recent surge of tech growth, Columbus has a lot of stability. The presence of Ohio State University to go along with a deep and diverse medical scene means that even if there's a tech downturn, Columbus's economy will stay strong. Now here's the fun part. If you buy in Columbus, you're getting exposure to this tech expansion and a strong economic base for a typical home price of only $275,000. That's about 15% below the US average and about 50% below a city like Portland, Oregon. I actually lived in Columbus, Ohio for a year in 2020 and can attest that it's a city with great balance. It has a lot of nightlife, youth, and good restaurants, but it also has a Midwest and community-based charm that means people smile at you when you walk down the street and actually want to interact with you, unlike what you see in a lot of big cities. Our number 5 best city to buy a home in 2022 strikes a similar balance as Columbus. It's a place where if you buy in today, you're getting in on the ground floor before the boom. It has a burgeoning art scene. It's becoming a foodie town. It has vegan bakeries and smoothie shops. You can gain access to all of that for a typical home price of less than $200,000 in Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City is one of the top migration markets in America, according to data from the US Census Bureau. Lots of people are moving in, particularly young people. The presence of the University of Oklahoma, about 15 miles to the south, ensures a steady stream of young college graduates, while the affordable home prices mean a lot of remote workers are now moving from places like California into Oklahoma City. Starter homes in Oklahoma City go between $200,000 and $300,000. However, if you're someone with a bigger budget, you can get something really nice for about $650,000. Take a look at this new listing, $665,000, 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,200 square feet. Brand new construction with pendant lighting, quartz countertops, a nice yard, as well as a private roof deck. That runs you only $665,000 in Oklahoma City. This would cost about 2 times as much in a city like Raleigh or Nashville. In addition to that affordability, Oklahoma City also has a really strong economy. It has the 2nd lowest unemployment rate in America. This is a hidden gem. It's not going to be around for long. 10 years from now, Oklahoma City will be a boom town. Now, our number 4 best place to buy isn't an area that people traditionally think as a boom town. This city's in the Midwest and actually has a negative reputation in terms of economic growth and crime. However, when you dig further into the data, you see a lot of hidden value in St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis actually has the 4th highest wage growth of any large city in America over the last 12 months. A nearly 9% increase in annual wages means that the housing market is being supported and locals can still afford homes. The typical price of a home in St. Louis is $224,000 compared to the average worker wage of $57,000. That means that it takes the typical worker less than 4 years to be able to afford the price of a home, which means housing market stability. I think it's very unlikely that St. Louis suffers a severe housing crash given those metrics. Now, the one elephant in the room we need to address with St. Louis is crime. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about the crime issues that St. Louis has had. And no doubt the city of St. Louis is one of the most crime-ravaged cities in America, with violent crime rates 7 times the US average. However, most of the crime is confined to these zip codes in red towards the center of the city. If you head west to the zip codes in green, cities like Clayton, Chesterfield, in Wildwood, there's actually very low crime rates and high income scores, indicating a lot of security and stability. Now, are you all ready for our top 3 cities to buy a home and move to in 2022? These are places that offer you affordability, growth, and security. And oh yeah, our number 1 city will actually pay you $10,000 to move there. Let's get into the top 3, everyone. Starting with Birmingham, Alabama at number 3. Birmingham is actually a surprising growth magnet. It's added 17,000 jobs to its economy over the last 5 years. Meanwhile, data from the US Census shows that in 27 of the last 30 years, Birmingham has registered positive inward migration, meaning that lots of people are moving to the area. Why are people moving to Birmingham? Well, warm weather, a laid-back lifestyle, and affordable housing costs are driving this surge. The typical mortgage payment in Birmingham is only about $1,000 a month, meaning that people with all different types of budgets and needs will be able to find a home that suits them. As is the case in our number 2 best city to buy, where the typical value of a home is less than $250,000, a very affordable entry point. You can definitely get a starter home for less than $300K in Indianapolis, Indiana. Indianapolis is one of the hidden growth gems of the Midwest to go along with Columbus. The unemployment rate here is only 2.2%, the 3rd lowest in America. Meanwhile, the region has added over 30,000 jobs in the last 5 years, many of which are in life sciences and biotech. The presence of Eli Lilly, one of the world's largest pharmaceutical companies in Indianapolis, has created a biotech and life sciences cluster that is beginning to grow jobs and incomes across Indianapolis. The northern suburbs across Indianapolis are some of the most desirable places to live and buy a home in America, so you should definitely be checking them out. Now, moving on to our number 1 best city to buy a home in America in 2022. This is a place where if you're a remote worker especially, you need to be considering this city because they'll actually pay you to move there. That's right, this city will pay you $10,000 in cash to move and live there for 2 years as a remote worker, and they'll even contribute it towards the down payment on your house. And $10,000 will go a long way on your down payment because the typical price of a home in the city is only $190,000. One of the most affordable price points in America. What city am I talking about? That would be Tulsa, Oklahoma. The $10,000 move incentive, as well as the affordable prices and warm weather, has turned Tulsa into a big migration hub for young people and retirees alike across America. Consider that the state of Oklahoma in 2021 just registered its strongest year ever in terms of domestic migration, according to the US Census Bureau. Those gains were spread across Oklahoma City at number 5 and Tulsa at number 1, and those gains are just beginning. Now, before we sign off, there's 2 very important caveats that I want to give all of you about this list. Number 1 is that just because I think these 10 cities are the best places to buy in America in 2022, that doesn't mean that they're going to completely dodge the upcoming housing crash. We are in the biggest housing bubble of all time in America, according to inflation-adjusted home prices, and I think it's realistic to expect that prices are going to go down everywhere in a rising interest and mortgage rate environment. However, I think most of these cities are going to weather the storm pretty well, just like they did in the last housing crash from 2007 to 2012. The second thing I would encourage all of you to look at is neighborhood, and do your due diligence on the type of neighborhood you want to buy in. Some of the 10 markets on this list do have issues with crime more broadly, but those issues tend to be confined to certain neighborhoods of the city. understand what you're getting into in terms of crime as well as potential downside in a crash. All right, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to smash that like button. Also, make sure to leave a comment below. I want to hear your thoughts on this list. Do you agree with the cities I put as the best places to buy? Do you already live in some of these cities? Are you already looking to buy there, or do you completely disagree? Is there another city you think should have been on this list? Let me know in the comments below. The data in this video came from 3 principal sources. Data on home values came from Zillow. I'm going to have a link in the description to where you can download home value data for your city, metro area, and even your zip code. Second source was the U.S. Census Bureau, particularly for data on migration and how people are moving around the country. The U.S. Census Bureau has some great data on that. I'm also going to have a link in the description for you where you can download some Excel spreadsheets. And then finally, number 3, the Bureau of Labor Statistics offers great data on jobs and wages that I referenced throughout this video. So check the description for a link for that as well.